Okay. The Levant, the area that borders the Eastern Mediterranean, was heavily populated in prehistoric times. The southern Levant was abandoned about 6,000 years ago, although the northern Levant, which shared the same climate, remained heavily populated. Okay. Recently, archaeologists have hypothesized that the sudden depopulation in the southern Levant was due to an economic collapse resulting from deforestation. Okay, let me just go back.
Yeah, so what's all going on?
So you got this Levant area was heavily populated in prehistoric times, but then you have a distinction between south and north, where the southern Levant we say was abandoned 6,000 years ago, and then they're hypothesizing that it was due to an economic collapse from deforestation.
Yeah, like that's why the South, like the South depopulized because of the deforestation. Excellent.
Yeah.
All right, so this is a cannot be true question. And so that means that some of these things could be true, right?
Mm-hmm.
We're just looking for, like, based on our stimulus, what cannot be true.
Okay, so
So
this is gonna
if it could be true, we cross it off.
got it. Okay, so it's almost like we're taking it like a must be true, right? We're looking what came from the stimulus and applying it to the answer choices.
It is, but we're looking for which one of these, like the answer. It's almost like which one of these, like, would be rejected by the stimulus.
Oh, okay, okay.
Like which
Gotcha.
one of these contradicts with the stimulus.
Okay, cool. All right, so the statements are true and the algorithm patterns correct. Okay, which one of the following cannot be true? All right, so A, the sheep and goats herded by the peoples of the southern Levant until 6,000 years ago grazed extensively on the seedlings and saplings of indigenous tree species. Okay, so they used indigenous tree species, but then you have these animals herded.
Could that be true? That the sheep and the goats ate tree saplings.
Yeah, I mean that could be
We have
true.
no reason to not think that that could be true.
Yeah,
So we're crossing it off.
and if you don't have trees, then you lose animals and people can't eat. So that makes sense.
Yeah, excellent. Okay, what about B?
All right. Trees were used in the production of lime plaster, a building material used extensively throughout the southern Levant until 6,000 years ago. Okay. So they depend on trees. I could see this
Yeah,
being
could
totally
be
plausible.
because it says until 6,000 years ago. So it's stopped. It's stopped.
Yeah.
So it's not B.
Organic remains from the northern Levant reliably indicate that tree species flourished there without interruption during the period when the southern Levant was being abandoned. Okay. So this is saying that from the northern Levant, does it not matter about the little on?
Yeah, like what they're saying here is that there's like remains in the north that said that they were like their trees in the north continued to flourish.
Yeah, and I'm like, okay, that's great. I don't care about the
Yeah.
north at this point.
And I like it too because it's saying that the trees like continued to flourish in the north where the south didn't and was abandoned. So it's like maybe maybe it really was from deforestation.
Yeah. All right. Carbon dating of organic remains from southern Levant reliably demonstrates that there were no forests present in that area prior to 6,000 years ago. Okay. Demonstrates that there were no forests present prior to 6,000 years ago. So about 6,000 years ago prior. I would hold it for now and just see how E looks.
So do you think that D can be true? That there were no forests present in southern Levant 6,000 years ago?
I guess that would support the sentence that southern Levant was abandoned about 6,000 years ago.
Okay, so this is saying prior. So we're saying that like our stimulus is saying southern Levant was great until 6,000 years ago, and we're saying what caused it to go down was deforestation.
Got
Well,
it.
there
Okay.
were no forests prior to 6,000 years ago. how could the economic collapse come from deforestation?
Okay, yeah. So when I saw the word prior to, I know what prior means, but in my head, I couldn't like visually map out what prior to looks like on a timeline. But I guess that means like, oh, if we're looking at 7,000 years ago, right? It's like that would
Where
kind
there were
of,
no trees,
yeah,
anything before 6,000 years. Yeah.
yeah. And that's why I was like, let me hold on to D because I know the word prior is super important, but I can't like make a timeline in my head.
All right. So what about E?
Okay. Since there are few traces of either quarried stone or of mud brick in buildings excavated in the southern Levant, it is likely that the buildings built there prior to 6,000 years ago were made almost entirely of timber. Okay. If they're made almost entirely of timber, then when they run out of wood because of deforestation, the population's going to be abandoned. So that could happen.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
So now E, and so that is why our answer is D.
That actually like makes sense. Okay. So yeah.